cardiac. Matthew Perry died from an apparent drowning, and first responders reportedly rushed to his home following a call reporting cardiac arrest. Joining us now to break all this down, Fox News medical contributor Dr. Mark Siegel. And Dr. Siegel, you probably just heard us talking about, the tragic struggle he went through, with opioid addiction, and what that entails and how hard it was on him and how hard it was to work. Can you talk a little bit about that?
He was so open about that, Marianne, and that was so important because he brought to light something that has been a huge problem in this country, which is he had a jet ski accident in 1997, given Vicodin, led to addiction. It's a warning sign to physicians everywhere. Are you using these drugs? Are you prescribing them? And then do they lead to addictions and even illicit use? So that's number one. Number two, he also had a problem with alcohol, and that led to pancreatitis. The opioid problem, by the way, actually led to a problem with his colon bursting. That was a major health issues he had to go through with all of this. He was a smoker. He had the problems with alcohol. He had problems on and off with his weight. He fought. He was courageous. And I think before we jump to any conclusions about what happened here, because we don't know, right? We're hearing cardiac arrest, we're hearing drowning. I want to make some point about what he did that day. And this isn't speculative. It's more, I want people to understand the background here. He was a junior tennis star in Canada. And so it probably was nothing for him to suddenly pick up pickleball the last few years. That's a strenuous activity. He did 2 hours of that. Then he goes to a jacuzzi where you dilate your vessels. And so if he had underlying heart disease from the smoking, from the weight issues, from the alcohol, it could be brought out suddenly from the change in dilation of vessels following strenuous activity. I can't be sure that's what it is. Autopsy will show.
Well, and Dr. Siegel, is that something that we all need to kind of keep in mind? What you just said, I've never heard of that before. That's shocking.
I think what we need to keep in mind is when we start to exercise, which is hugely important that we exercise regularly, another sign of courage on Matthew Perry's part, trying to put his life back together after all he's been through. But if you are starting to exercise strenuously, get a physical first. I don't say that he didn't, but make sure you're in tip-top shape. And then, take it gradually. And again, jacuzzis, they generally decrease your blood pressure. But if you have an underlying heart problem or blood pressure problem, it can precipitate an event. Jacuzzis are not harmless, and you should be aware of that before you go into one.
Yeah, excellent advice. Thank you for that, Dr. Mark Siegel. We appreciate your insight on this.